35 miles southwest of London, the 2014 Farnborough Air Show is underway. We are glad to welcome you to Farnborough via Airbus Direct. We'll be here all week, and we hope you will continue to be our guest for all the news, all the excitement, and of course, all the flying displays. The air show got off to an exciting start Monday morning, with UK Prime Minister David Cameron officially opening the show. Even before the show opened this morning, and before the first aircraft took to the skies, news was already flying in Farnborough. Airbus announced two much-anticipated new models of its popular A330 aircraft. The A330neo, or new engine offering, is definitely the buzz of the show, promising to provide airlines a 14% reduction in costs compared to today's A330. In addition, Airbus announced orders from International Airlines Group, or IAG, for 20 A320neo aircraft to be operated by British Airways, an order from leasing company ALC for 60 A320neos and 25 of the new A330neos, and an order from leasing company AerCap for 50 A320neos. Of course, every air show is really about the airplanes, and visitors to Farnborough in 2014 are being treated to several from Airbus. In addition to static and flying displays of Airbus's new A350 XWB and the iconic and always popular A380, Farnborough is playing host this week to the Airbus A400M transport aircraft and Airbus Group's experimental E-Fan demonstrator, a completely electric aircraft. Good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening. Wherever you are in the world, we're glad that you're here with us on Airbus Direct. My name is Clay McConnell, and on behalf of all of my Airbus colleagues around the world, I am very pleased to welcome you to a beautiful opening day of the 2014 Farnborough Air Show. It is a gorgeous day in the English countryside, and it's a perfect day for flying. We're glad you're here with us. We will be here, in fact, all week with Airbus Direct. You can join in every day, and you can check airbus.com for the broadcast times, but we'll also try to let you know what they're going to be a day ahead as well. In addition, to stay on top of all of the Airbus news that's taking place here, be sure to visit airbus.com, as well as all of our social media channels. Airbus, as you know, is present on Twitter and Facebook, Vine, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. The flying display today is going to be terrific. We're going to see the Airbus E-Fan in just a few minutes. Electricity will literally be in the air. We will get the chance to see the Airbus A380, the super jumbo that everyone loves to see fly. We get a special treat also in that we have the Airbus A350 XWB flight test aircraft, and lastly, the Airbus A400M transporter. It's a great day to be at Farnborough, and the flying display should be getting underway just in a very few seconds. So, the news of the day, of course, has been the A330neo, which launched earlier today. Already gotten some orders from ALC. And the A330neo is an extraordinarily efficient aircraft. And in fact, we're going to have an opportunity later to hear from our expert on the Kieran Rao on the A330 neo. Of course, as I mentioned, we're going to be here all week. We'll be featuring interviews with Airbus hosts, with technical experts, with flight test pilots, with executives. You'll want to come back every day because in addition to the flying display, we in fact will have something new to offer every single day. First up in the flying display is going to be the Airbus Group's E-Fan. As I mentioned, electricity is quite literally in the air, or soon to be in the air. Airbus Group and its partners started from scratch to build a completely new electric aircraft. It is fully dedicated to electric propulsion in terms of aerodynamics, integration, and safety. Airbus Group's short-term goal is to achieve a late 2017 entry into service of a two-seat pilot trainer version of the EFAN. This will make it the first all-electric production aircraft in the world certified to international standards by civil airworthiness authorities. As I mentioned, with a goal of a late 2017 entry into service of the two-seat version of the EFAN, that two-seater version would be followed by the EFAN 4.0, a four-seater plane targeted for full pilot licensing and the general aviation market. You are watching the flying demonstration of Airbus Group's EFAN, the first fully electrically powered aviation training aircraft. Assembly facilities for the EFAN will be located near Bordeaux in France. Next up in the flying display, of course, is the iconic Airbus A380. I'm very happy to welcome with us today Fernando Alonso, Airbus's Senior Vice President, Flight Test and Integration. Fernando, how are you, sir?
Morning, just arrived from Toulouse.
You've arrived at a good time. We get to see an exceptional flying display.
Just on time, just in time to see this beautiful place.
Once it gets airborne, we're going to want to get some thoughts from you about the flying display itself. The A380 is the world's largest and most efficient passenger aircraft. The crew flying the aircraft today is made up of Christoph Kai and Hugues van der Stickel. This aircraft is Airbus's manufacturer serial number 1, or MSN1, one of 2 dedicated flight test A380s. It's powered by 4 Rolls-Royce Trent 900 engines, each delivering approximately 70,000 pounds of thrust on takeoff. In addition, the A380 can be powered by the Engine Alliance GP7000 engine. Fernando, she's a giant, but she is a graceful giant. Tell us what it's like to fly the A380 compared to other models, other Airbus aircraft.
Before answering that question, I'll say that no matter how many times you've seen the airplane take off, it's always so majestic. It's really so touching. And having been involved in that project from day one, it's extremely emotional, as I say. No matter how many times I've seen this thing done, it's absolutely incredible. In terms of handling the airplane, we've made the airplane to be as similar as possible to all our other fly-by-wire airplanes. Yet the majestic handling that you see from the outside, that is exactly how it feels on the inside. We have made an airplane that responds well, but responds with some inertia, like you would expect from a big airplane like that. Other than that, it's extremely easy, and the pilots who are flying 330s or 340s or 320s can very quickly get used to the handling of the A380.
The A380 reached a milestone earlier this month when Airbus delivered the 50th to its customer Emirates. Of course, in service all over the world with airlines everywhere. There are more than 100 A380s flying. In fact, Fernando, people may be wondering, with the aircraft having been in service for several years now and enjoying lots of market success, why does Airbus still have a test bed, a test aircraft for the A380?
In fact, we use the A380 number one that you see flying here today for a number of continuous developments that we have on our products, be it technical things like brakes, like landing gear, like engines. Also, should there be any in-service event with our customers, we have the opportunity of using this airplane to check it out. And specifically, 2 years ago, we used this airplane as the flight test bed for the engines of the A350. And later next year, we will be using it also as a flight test bed for the engines of the A350-1000. So it doesn't fly much, but it keeps it sufficiently busy. And one of our highlights is bringing the airplane to air shows because it attracts attention. It's really an outstanding airplane to see. The size of it is majestic. The speed at which it's flying, as you see there now, there he's probably doing about 100 knots. Very low speed, which of course, given the size of the airplane, it looks like the airplane is just sitting there.
It is beautiful. And one never knows with the weather in England in the summertime, but we are very fortunate to have such a beautiful day to fly. As we see the A380 coming in for a landing, Fernando, will the A350 do essentially a similar flying demonstration, or are there some differences because of that aircraft?
There are some minor differences. We want to, on the one hand, show the maneuverability of the airplane. We want to show the quietness of the airplane. We want to show the airplane, see how elegant it is. And it'll be basically a similar routine as the one of the A380. Because the A380, after it lands, is going to have to go to the end of the runway and then it's going to be towed out. We may have an extra flyby of the A350, so that will be a cherry on the cake.
And here we are now presenting our new Airbus A350 XWB, or extra wide body airliner. The A350 today is being piloted by Fernando's colleagues Peter Chandler and Frank Chapman. And Philippe Sev, it's his birthday today. And I suppose that Peter and Frank get the honors of flying the A350 for the first time at the Farnborough Air Show, as they are UK citizens bringing the aircraft home. So just last summer, Fernando, you and I were together on Airbus Direct when the first A350 test aircraft did that historic flyover at the Paris Air Show. That was quite a moment. But I know you and your colleagues have been hard at work since that day with a very rigorous flight test program. What can you tell us about what all has gone on in that flight test program in the past 13 months?
Well, listen, we've come a long way. I remember perfectly well that first flyby over Le Bourget. Today we're delighted to be here. It's the second appearance of the A350 and a flight display. First time was in Singapore back in the month of February. So we're very proud and honored to be here in Farnborough today. A lot has been done over the last 12 months. It's really amazing. We've discovered a beautiful airplane. We've discovered a very, very good airplane, very mature for this point in time in its career. We've been flying routinely over 80 hours per month on each airplane, which is really quite amazing. And things have been going very well. Of course, we have been finding things. It's normal of a flight test program. That's the whole purpose of flying the airplane, to discover things before our customers see them. But overall, we have been very impressed, as I said, with the maturity of the airplane and its systems. We would not have been able to do all that we have been doing over the last year if the airplane had not been readily available day after day. It has really been a very, very impressive performance of the airplane. And now we're close to the end. We're starting route proving in a couple of weeks from now, and that basically will be the last exercise before certifying the airplane to have it ready to deliver to our customer Qatar at the end of the year.
As of today, Airbus has 792 orders for among 38 customers.
So now Peter is going to be flying the airplane at very low speed, probably about 100 knots, same as the A380. Roughly, they will be, both the A380 and the A350 will be flying roughly at about the same speeds. So when Peter will come here, he'll be flying about 100 knots, and then he'll turn around and come back. And if the A380 has been towed out of the runway, then after that first turn he'll land. Alternatively, hasn't been cleared the runway, then he'll do another flyby.
More than 70% of the A350's weight-efficient airframe is made from advanced materials such as composites, titanium, and advanced aluminum alloys. The innovative carbon fiber reinforced plastic fuselage results in a lower fuel burn and easier maintenance. And it also sports a beautifully graceful wing. Those wings, by the way, are made right here in the UK. Fernando, remind me, we have 5 flight test aircraft currently?
Right, we have currently the entire development fleet is available now. We have 5 airplanes, so this is MSN 4 here. We have MSN 1 in Toulouse, MSN 3 is also in Toulouse, MSN 2 and 5 are the 2 cabin airplanes. So they're all busy flying in Toulouse, and the MSN 5 will be involved in the route proving campaign starting later this year.
Tell us about that route proving campaign. What are the things that we're seeking to understand or find out about the performance of the aircraft?
The route proving campaign is something required by the authorities, which at the end of the campaign they expect us to show to them that the airplane is suit for purpose and suit to enter into service. So the idea is to fly the airplane for about 300 hours using normal airline procedures, using normal airline turnaround times, visiting a number of airports in different climatic conditions. So basically it's about the airplane is finished now, we're ready to enter into service. Now we're going to prove to you that the airplane is reliable and can fit into the airports and the normal operating conditions of the airlines. So it's going to be a very intensive campaign of 3 weeks. We're going to be doing in 3 weeks, we're going to be doing, as I say, over 180, close to 200 hours. Very, very demanding schedule. We're going to have, it's going to put a lot of stress on us because there's going to be pilots and flight crews all over the place because the airplane will land somewhere and then another crew will be positioned there, will take the airplane to the next destination. And so we're going to be visiting the Far East. We're going to be in Hong Kong, Singapore. We're also going to be visiting Johannesburg, Sydney, Auckland, Latin America, visiting Santiago, Sao Paulo. We're going to go to Northern Canada, Iqaluit, Frankfurt. So a lot of destinations in a very short time span. And let's keep our fingers crossed because when that will be over, that's it. You know, we'll have completed all our tests for certification, and then it'll just be a question of paperwork and getting the ticket.
But everything is still on schedule for delivery and entry into service later this year to Qatar, right?
You betcha, yeah. For free. That's a flyby for free that we get.
So I know that there's a lot of energy and resources and time put into a flight test program. You probably don't want to think about that ending, but I know on the one hand it must be a real source of pride to see an aircraft about ready for entry into service later this year, but do you feel a sort of sense of regret when a flight test program is over? Because it must be something that you really love doing.
No, definitely we love doing what we do. No regret, because fortunately Airbus has a bright future ahead of us. Next year we're going to be busy, starting from September with the certification of the single-aisle NEO, so 320, 321 and 319. After that we have the A350-1000, and the year after that we will have the A330 NEO. So we're going to be keeping busy for quite some years ahead. What I keep in the back of my mind after one of these campaigns is over is the incredible human adventure. It's all about people. If you didn't have the people as motivated as they are, as passionate as they are, you would never ever be able to do what we do. So it's all about people and engagement of people and motivation and passion for what they do.
So maybe it's a good thing that a flight test pilot's job is never done.
Never ever done.
As the A350 XWB comes in for a landing, we're treated to the takeoff now of the Airbus A400M. From Airbus Defence and Space, this aircraft is making its third public display at Farnborough, giving us a chance to see a truly remarkable aircraft, a very agile aircraft, particularly for its size. So Fernando, you were also involved and have been involved in the flight test program for the A400M. How is a flight test program for a large turboprop different from one of Airbus's commercial aircraft?
I would say the basics of the early part of the flight test campaign are very similar. It's all about discovering the airplane, its aerodynamics, its structure, its engines and its systems. What is significantly different, of course, is all the part that we're right now involved in, which is all the mission-related testing. So paratroop dropping, air-to-air refueling, all those very specific military missions. They require a fair amount of time, a fair amount of development, which is right what we're in now for the time being. So it's a total different environment, operating environment. But again, at the end, an airplane is an airplane, and you have to go through the same routines to learn about the airplane and to do the development of it.
The A400M is a new generation airlifter. It entered service with the French Air Force last September, and it has already been deployed on operations to Mali and Djibouti. The A400M's 4 Europrop International TP400 engines are the most powerful turboprops in production and give the A400M its remarkably versatile capabilities. Fernando, remind us of your background and how long you've been with Airbus and how you came to be a flight test pilot.
I joined Airbus 32 years ago, and I have been privileged to live the growth of our company. When I first joined the Airbus flight test organization back in 1982, they were flying the A310, and that was MSN 162. So in the first years of Airbus had produced 162 airplanes. Well, I've been privileged, as I say, to have lived through the incredible experience of doing the flight test and the development of pretty much every single airplane of the Airbus family. So really something to be very proud of, to have been a part of this incredible story of building Europe and building airplanes.
What's the biggest change you've seen since those early days?
Biggest change is, of course, the size. You know, when 162 airplanes, that was Airbus produced in 10 years. 162 airplanes is what we produce now in barely 2 or 3 months. So the company has become much bigger, much more processes, much more in an industrial outfit. But what has not changed, and I don't think it will ever change, is the passion of the people that make this company. It will never change because it's all about the passion about airplanes.
This incredibly maneuverable and versatile A400M is the third of the 5 development aircraft that was used in the flight test program. It was flown by Airbus Chief Military Test Pilot Ed Strongman.
And a big homage to Ed, who's now retiring. He's reaching 65, so he will be retiring at the end of this year. So this will be his last Farnborough Air Show. He's very, very proud of his airplane. He's very, very proud, and he should be rightly so, of the job that he has done for this A400M. And he will be retiring hopefully after delivering the first A400M to the UK Royal Air Force. So a very emotional moment for Ed. I'm sure he's enjoying every single minute of it.
Yeah, I don't think many people, and certainly not I, but most of the folks who are listening and watching us today have probably never been somewhat inverted in an aircraft before. What does that feel like the first time you do it?
Well, he's not really inverted. He's just vertical. I mean, he's not quite upside down. It doesn't feel much because there's not much load factor in the airplane at that time. He's basically flying at n=1. So not a lot of physical feeling, a lot of anticipation because you cannot stay there forever. So it's all about getting there and getting out, and having enough leg room, air between you and the ground, to recover a more normal flying condition.
Fernando, thanks for taking some time to visit with us today and give us some insight into this flight test program.
Thank you very much. I'm now going to greet the guys.
So thanks for joining us today. You've had the opportunity to see the Airbus Group EFAN, the Airbus A380, the Airbus A350 XWB, and the Airbus A400M. What a treat it has been to show you these great aircraft today in this beautiful flying conditions at Farnborough. We would like to welcome you back to join us tomorrow at 2:30. That is 2:30 London time, so wherever in the world you are, you can do the time zone comparison, but please do join us because, as I say, every day is going to be a different experience. Be sure also to check in for throughout the day and throughout the entire Farnborough Air Show on Airbus.com and on our social media channels for the latest. And now, as we wish you goodbye, I would like to present to you Airbus's Head of Strategy, Kieran Rao, for some insight into the A330neo announced at Farnborough just today.
Today we're announcing the A330neo. The A330neo is of course taken from the A330. A330 being one of our most successful aircraft in the Airbus wide-body family. We've sold over 1,300 airplanes. We have nearly 100 customers worldwide. This is one of the most successful airplanes in the wide-body category that Airbus has produced. In fact, the world has produced. And what we're doing is we're making this aircraft, which is already great, we're making it better. We're launching it today because the airlines really want us to get this aircraft to the market. They want us to do this quickly, and we've developed a program over 42 months to deliver this airplane to the airlines, and we need to start quickly. So that's why we're launching it today. Fuel burn is extremely important to the airlines, and we've learned that from the A320neo. The A320neo is one of the most successful airplanes, having sold over 2,500 airplanes since its launch in 2010. And what the airlines have asked us for is improved fuel efficiency. We already have a great aircraft with the A330. The airlines love the airplane. They love the cabin. They love the range capability. They love the flexibility of the aircraft. But they need fuel efficiency. To compete in the world going forward, they need fuel efficiency, just like they did on the 320. And with our partners Rolls-Royce, together with the aerodynamic improvements, the weight saving, the improvements we're making to the airplane will deliver 14% fuel burn improvements per seat. That's very significant when half the operating cost that an airline has today is fuel. So saving 14% is a major improvement. The A330 has sold, today we've sold over 1,300 airplanes. We've sold 900 of those airplanes since the launch of the 787. So the 330 has continued to compete very well with modern generation aircraft. But going forward, we see that all the aircraft that we've sold will all need to be replaced. We see that 340s, MD-11s, 767s, all have a replacement wave starting in 2018. If we put all of that together, we take the growth that the airline industry is seeing, not just in Asia, China, in North America, Europe, put all the world average of the growths together, what we see is that we could sell over 1,000 A330neos. So that's a great market for us to be in, and I think it'll be a very successful program going forward. The A330 has been a great success, and now working on the A330neo, what we'll see is we'll take the best airplane, make it better, and have an airplane program that will continue well into the 2030s and beyond.